Very good morning, welcome back students. So in the last class we have gone through about the chemical coordination and regulation, where we have covered about the mechanism of hormone action, feedback mechanism, where I have given very little introduction about feedback mechanism. So in today's class, basically in the first half we are going to cover the first one, homeostasis and control, how endocrine system involved in homeostasis and controlling the body mechanism, the body metabolism, that means which involve the catabolism and anabolism. In the second part we are going to cover about what are the common diseases associated with endocrine system or endocrine glands or related hormones. So with this, let me start the class with a brief introduction on homeostasis. Actually, what do you mean by homeostasis? Homeostasis means how the body stabilizes or it maintains a constant state of situation with the changing environment. It is the literal meaning of homeostasis. But with context to the class where we are going to study about endocrine homeostasis, we want to reveal how the body physiology maintains a constant native state and how it regulates the hormone. So that means how hormonal balance takes place. Basically it is about hormonal homeostasis. And suppose an endocrine gland which secretes a hormone, it's somehow due to the body activity, physiology, environmental condition, or whatever may be the reason, our dietary problems or dietary imbalance, if it gets either upregulated means increased level of secretion or activity. If it gets upregulated or downregulated, the reverse one, then the body tries to maintain its balance, tries to come back to its native state. That means successful compensation means homeostasis is re-established. Once your body fails to compensate the native state, the normal state of secretion or whatever, then a condition develops which known as your pathophysiology, and ultimately it can lead to illness or ultimately death or very worse situation of a person or the concerned person. So if you look at the right panel, you can see, so if a organism is in homeostasis state, then it balances with the external changes as well as internal changes, because homeostasis means how the body cope with its own mechanism of function or own physiology as well as the environment, and both can funnel into the internal changes which leads to its loss. If something happen between the internal and external environment, it can leads to imbalance of the body physiology, which can lead to loss of homeostasis. That means the body does not cope, that means the body does not maintain a proper stable state, that is homeostasis get disturbed. Once the homeostasis loss, then organism attempts to compensate. There comes various mechanism how one body or a physiological state of an individual sense that the body is not in a state of homeostasis and it has to regain its level of homeostasis. So organism attempts to compensate the various states. So compensation includes first of all two phases, that is compensation fails or compensation succeeds. Succeed, I told you, that means homeostasis is re-established. If it fails, then the person dies. So this is very much important for endocrine system, because whole body system is maintained basically chemically coordinated by this endocrine system. So understanding homeostasis is very much important. Now let us see how hormones regulate their internal environment and how this hormone secretion is controlled by itself as well as the master glands. Let us see that one. We have to be familiar with certain terms like sensing and signaling. In the previous class we have studied about the second messenger, the signaling mechanism, and we have studied about certain receptors. So all these are very important in case of endocrinology. So let's see, a biological need is sensed. If a body needs something, it is actually sensed. How it is sensed? It is sensed by the body cells, and ultimately you know cell is the structural and functional unit of life. So it is sensed. The endocrine system sends out a signal to the target cells. So how a body will sense that the system is not in a proper state or homeostasis is required? Basically, the endocrine system sends out signals. How it sends out signals? It sends out signals in the form of chemical messengers, that is your hormone or any chemical. Hormone is a form of chemical. Okay. So the signal is sent by the gland itself, the endocrine gland, and it reaches to the cell, where comes the receptor into picture. That means how these hormones secreted, that transferred into the cell, then cell recognizes or sensitize the particular hormone is there, and according to the level or the instruction by the hormone, the cell acts and it tries to stabilize the body. Okay. So the key feature of this stimulus response system, that means stimulus means the hormone which is secreted from the endocrine gland is the stimulus, and the response is the how the cell is responding to the incoming or the endocrine secretion or the hormones. So how it, number 1 point, first of all a cell has to receive the stimulus. So one mechanism is receiving of the stimulus. Second is synthesis and secretion of hormones. If that particular cell is a part of another endocrine system, then it has to act accordingly. That means it has to synthesize or secrete certain hormones. Then once a hormone is secreted by the cell, it has to be delivered to the target cell. Again it has to be communicated to other cells. Like in case of pituitary gland, it secretes various tropic hormones which controls other endocrine glands, like your thyrotropic hormone. It controls the thyroid hormone secretion in case of thyroid gland, like that. So once the signal reaches to the final cell or the effector cell, it evokes the target cells to respond. Suppose if it is a growth hormone, the growth hormone will reach to the cell, body cell, and the body cell sense that yes, I have to synthesize more proteins, its metabolic activity increases, various activity increases, proteins are formed, and various other mechanisms are involved, as a result of which our body structure or a cell divides to form 1 into 2. So and finally one important thing is when we are talking about homeostasis is whatever hormones or the signals secreted, they has to be get inactivated or destroyed or degraded, because unless until they get degraded or destroyed, your signal, your effect of your on your body will continue to go on. So that has to be stopped. So these are the 5 mechanisms through which a hormone acts or the secretion of a hormone takes place. Now as I have gone through already about the second signaling mechanism, the second messengers, but here I want to give you a brief account where you can see if one signal molecules when binds to the receptor protein. See, here you say that signal molecule is your hormone. When it binds to receptor protein, definitely that receptor protein is on the surface of the cell or the cell which is to receive the hormone, then it activates, and inside the cell various activity takes place or various intracellular signaling mechanism takes place. Okay. Once it takes place, the ultimate target of a hormone is your DNA, where mRNA are formed or various proteins are formed. The mRNA can direct act on various functions, like so your mRNA, microRNA and all these things which you will go through in our higher classes, or certain protein, it helps to translate various proteins, and ultimately you know proteins are the effector molecules where the effect is seen. So this is a schematic representation how signal transduction takes place or signaling pathway. Let us see next. If we are talking about various signals, hormones and all these things, what actually happens in case of tissue level? So target tissue response will generally be determined by two factors. Target tissue response will be determined by two factors. What is that? One is plasma concentration, that means plasma concentration of your hormone. You all know that hormones are secreted through secreted directly into the stream or your plasma or your blood stream without the help of any duct. That's why they are known as the endocrine glands. So the concentration of hormone in your plasma actually determines how it acts, or what will be the effect, at what extent the hormone will act on the tissue. And the second point is that the number of cell membrane receptors. Suppose you are feeding a baby, its stomach size is suppose 1 liter capacity, and you are giving milk you are giving him a 5 liter jar milk, and you are telling that you drink all. So it is not possible. So what will be the size it is to be fitted in that. So that likewise, that suppose your hormone concentration is like 5 nanogram or any 10 nanogram or 10 milligram, but the receptors are 2, that means a cell surface receptor is only 2. So there what amount of hormone you may give to that particular cell, but only 2 hormone will sit on the receptor. So it is very much important that the number of cell membrane receptors, what are the number of receptors present on the cell membrane, that is important. That's why more receptors obviously result in a greater response, irrespective of the plasma concentration of your hormone concentration. So next, let us see how this endocrine activity is controlled. What is the basic mechanism? I have already explained the intracellular mechanism. So here you need to understand the concept, that is the concentration of hormone in blood and extracellular fluid, that is important. Almost inevitably disease results when hormone concentrations are either too high or too low, that means they are not in a state of homeostasis. If the hormone concentration is too high or too low, then a condition you can say that it is a diseased condition or abnormal condition. So when the hormone concentration is too high, the effect is generally called as the hyper effect, or the secretion level of that hormone is called hyper secretion. If the level of hormone is too low, you can say that it is a hypo condition, that means the secretion of level of the hormone is hyposecretion, that means under secretion. Okay. Then control of hormone concentration, how these hormone concentrations are getting controlled. Synthesis and secretion of hormones are the most highly regulated aspects, because this is not only highly regulated aspect of endocrine control, it is also very much important for endocrine activity, because if the secretion and all these things alters, then the condition becomes abnormal or diseased. So such control is mediated by positive and negative feedback. In my class I have told you that we will go in detail about positive and negative feedback in future, which is very much important for studying or knowing about endocrinology. So let us see what are positive and negative feedback. Basically, if we will talk about a positive feedback, means that is the normal secretion or secretion of hormone in its normal state, because the secretion of hormone from the endocrine gland has certain effects on either on the same gland or at a distant gland, and if this kind of effect continues in a steady state, you can say that it is a positive feedback. But negative feedback is more important than positive feedback, because the body, the cell or the endocrine gland should know when to stop the secretion of the endocrine secretion of the hormone. Okay. So let us first know about negative feedback. So negative feedback is the primary mechanism through which your endocrine system maintains homeostasis. Obviously, as already told, you have to, your body should know that when to stop, when the hormone should stop secreting, or when its effect should stop. So likewise, that secretion of a specific hormone is turned on or off by specific physiological channels. A particular mechanism will not control secretion or inhibition of hormone for all the endocrine glands. For specific cells, for specific endocrine glands, specific mechanisms are there. That is how our body gets controlled. For example, plasma glucose level and insulin levels, these are the most important or the vital mechanism where body metabolism is controlled. Basically, it is associated with various one or more than 2 or 3 hormones, like one is growth hormone, one is thyroid hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone. So, likewise, so for each hormone secretion the mechanism is different. So, similar way, the level of glucose in the body, the level of insulin secretion from the beta cells of the pancreas, all they depend on different mechanisms. So, we have to know about different mechanisms also. So, the body should know how to stop. And most important part for the secretion, that means positive or negative feedback of a hormone secretion, is your feedback loop. Feedback loop means once a hormone is secreted from a gland, it has to know, the gland has to know when to stop, and the signal comes from directly from the effector gland or effector organ, and it can directly come, it can come in various ways. So, anyway, the feedback loop or the inhibitory loop should be there. So, first of all, let us see negative feedback. The response counteracts the stimulus shutting off the response loop. That means, basically negative feedback stops the hormone secretion or inhibits or slows down the hormone secretion. How? Suppose in this left side picture you can see initial stimulus, that means any conditions or anything that initiate the secretion of hormone leads to response. Response means it should go, it should bind on the target cell and ultimately will find the effect. Once the effect becomes a stimulus or the concentration it is go on, and if the level increases above the threshold level, then the body sense or the organ sense or the secreting endocrine gland sense, now it is enough, I have to stop secreting hormone, and that is actually called the negative feedback. And in case of positive feedback, what happens? Once a stimulus or once the hormone secretion started, it go on repeating secreting the hormone, and that is actually happens because when the response becomes stimulus and the stimulus itself enhance the response to act like it should go on acting, or the hormone should go on secreting, and this is happens because of positive feedback. So, let us see negative feedback controls long short loop. That means, in the previous diagram I have directly shown you, the left side diagram I have directly shown you that the stimulus directly goes and stops the secretion. It can say that this is a direct mechanism or direct loop, but there are also indirect loops are present, like sorry, suppose a stimulus that induce hypothalamus to secrete tropic hormone, and that tropic hormone acts on your anterior pituitary. All you know that pituitary is under the partial control of hypothalamus or under the control of hypothalamus. So, tropic hormones control the secretion of the pituitary glands. So, once a tropic hormone acts on, tropic hormones are basically one hormone which is secreted from the endocrine gland and it acts on another endocrine gland. Those are known as the tropic hormone. That means, they induce another endocrine gland to secrete hormones. Okay. So, tropic hormones, they act on anterior pituitary gland, and finally, the anterior pituitary gland can also control other endocrine gland. That is why this pituitary gland is known as your master of endocrine glands. So, again it secretes tropic hormone. At that point, you can see the directly short loop of negative feedback can induce hypothalamus to say that stop acting on pituitary gland. So, the pituitary actions should inhibit or should get slower down. So, similar way, after that the second tropic hormone is secreted from the pituitary gland, it acts on another endocrine gland to and induce that endocrine gland to secrete hormone. Once that hormone secreted, it can act on pituitary as well as on the hypothalamus. So, in both way it can inhibit its own secretion. That is why it is called as the long loop negative feedback. That means the final response, either it may be a hormones or the target response from the tissue, the inhibitory channel or the negative feedback channel goes shoot backward, and it acts on both the glands, that means pituitary as well as hypothalamus. The ultimate aim is to stop the secretion of the hormone. So, this long distance inhibitory loop, you can say it as a negative feedback loop. Okay, let us see. The responsiveness of a target cell and role of receptors. These are the two important aspects for the action of hormone. One is the target cell. You all know what is the target cell, the cell on which the hormone acts, and the receptor. Receptor means the receptors present on the target cells. It may be a cell surface receptor, it may be intracellular receptor, that we have already covered in our last class. So, let us see. So, receptor numbers are usually increased when hormone secretion is low. That is very important part of endocrine system. How a body coordinate, chemical coordination, the chemical secretion, the hormonal secretion acts on the body physiology. The body physiology itself also cope with the functioning of the endocrine gland. So, see here, if the receptor number, that means upon the cell surface there are receptors are present where hormones bind and effects takes place. But if the concentration of hormone is very low in the plasma, or the concentration of hormone is very low, but the effect should go on, because at any condition body will not compromise with its function. So, if your hormone secretion is low, your body, suppose a growth hormone secretion is low, but your body needs to grow. So, in that case the modification is that the cell itself develops many receptors to perceive the hormone as much as possible. That is how your body acts. So, receptor numbers are usually increased when hormone secretion is low and decreased when hormone secretion is high, that means vice versa. Okay. Some hormonal response are increased or decreased by the presence of the different hormones also. So, this last point you can think about the feedback loop which I have shown in the last slide. Suppose this hormone secretion need to be stopped, it depends on other two hormones, tropic hormones. So, if the tropic hormones are less, then the secretion will be less. So, likewise hormone effect of hormone is also dependent on secretion of different hormones or other hormones. So, that is important. Then in your class you should be acquainted with two terms, that is down regulation and up regulation. I have told you about that, but how this happens? So, number of receptors can down regulate or can up regulate. So, what is a down regulation? Down regulation is the decrease of hormone receptors which decreases the sensitivity to that hormone. Up regulation is the increase in the number of receptors which causes the cell to be more sensitive to the particular hormone. Let us see if you will visualize, you will able to understand this. So, in this diagram you see the panel, upper panel 3, lower panel 3. First focus on the upper panel. So, here you can see a particular cell is there, the violet color or the purple color is your nucleus, and the bluish color dots over the cell are the hormone receptors, and the red dots are the hormones. You can see here the hormone concentration are more, but the receptors are less. What happens? The cell modifies itself, that means the receptors are nothing, they are glycoproteinases receptors or various carbohydrate moiety are attached to the protein to form the receptor. So, like that the concentration of receptor increased. See, in the middle of upper panel, the cell surface, you can see the number of blue rounds increased, that means the number of hormonal receptor increased, as a result of which Finally, the amount of hormone remains same. The number of receptor, as the number of receptor increases, the response also increases. So this is all about how a cell modifies its receptor to receive the hormones to show its effect. In the lower panel, the reverse one. Suppose there are high receptor density and strong response is there. The receptors are density is high, the hormone concentration is high, now the effect in the body is high. Now the body needs to stop the effect because already the effect has been started and the body does not need more effect. In that condition, what happens? A particular lower panel, just guys you focus on the lower panel. In the middle one you can see, after high receptor density or strong response, the cell reduces its hormonal receptors. That means there is a degradation of the receptors, and as a result of which there is, in the last one you can see, there is the response decreases, there is a diminished response towards the hormone. Okay. So the ultimately the body gets stabilized. That's why I have given the heading as how homeostasis is maintained, how homeostasis takes place, how homeostasis occurs in relation to your endocrine system. This is very much important because endocrine systems are very good systems and you should always get acquainted with endocrine system. Thank you students for your patiently listening. Thank you, Genius Mind. खाली पॉज कर दे।